Wichita State shocks Ohio State, but it will take some kind of basketball game to give the Louisville Cardinals a problem. Welcome into the Sporting News Studios. I'm Tom Vandervoort as we preview each and every game of this year's NCAA tournament. Thanks to our friends at UPS and the UPS Team Performance Index, we are down to the Final Four. Wichita State against the Louisville Cardinals. Joining me on the phone, our college basketball writer, Mike DeCourcy. Mike, I got to ask you, you watched Louisville pull away from Duke in the second half in obviously a very, very impressive performance. They've been very impressive throughout this tournament. What can Wichita State do with these guys?
Well, see, I can see a scenario in which Wichita State, doing what they do, walling off the lane as well as just about any team in college basketball, can make it a challenge for Louisville to score. However, I can't see any scenario in which Wichita scores enough to win. It's just hard to conceive. I mean, we've seen them play out of character through much of this tournament and make shots that they ordinarily have not made during the tournament. They certainly did that against Gonzaga in their game, especially down the stretch of the the round of 32. But then, and we also saw it again in the first half against Ohio State. Ohio State, a very adept defensive team, and they were able to get good quality shots and knock them down. I don't think that's going to happen against Louisville. Right now, Louisville is the best defensive team in the country. I don't know what the stats are saying. I'm sure that they're in the conversation there relative to points per possession and field goal percentage D and all that kind of, but it doesn't matter what the numbers say. All you have to do is watch the game. All you had to do was watch the second 20 minutes against Duke, a terrific offensive basketball team that was absolutely unable to get anything they wanted. Louisville took everything away that they wanted to do, ran Seth Curry off the three-point line, ran Ryan Kelly off the three-point line, denied penetration, denied post entry. They took away everything, and they used the press to wear down Duke as well. Again, we talked about this before. The press does not have to take the ball away to be effective, and it certainly didn't get the ball a lot tonight. When they mostly stole the ball was when Duke drove into traffic. Then they attacked. In traffic in the lane, they attacked the basketball ferociously. But on the press, really not so much. It was just make them work. And so they'll do that to Wichita. And Wichita has a couple of point guards, and those guys aren't, one is a freshman, and Malcolm Armstead has played a lot of college basketball, but he's not seen this. Very few teams have seen this. Right now, the way Louisville is defending, they are playing their defense as well as anybody in the NCAA has played their defense in 10 years.
Yeah, it is amazing to see. They were so good defensively, I swear they were making Duke miss free throws. It was unbelievable.
They talked about that. Tom, they talked about that after the game. I think it was Shane Bohannon said that. I think they really felt that the way they were wearing out Seth Curry was contributing to the fact that a very reliable free throw shooter was going to the line in a game where, at that point, every point mattered. They were going back and forth between about a 2 and a 4 point lead, so certainly the free throws would have mattered, and he was missing. I think you're right. I think that it's more than a joke. I think that's actually what happened.
Yeah, it certainly occurred to me watching the game. If you look at the numbers, Wichita State's only advantage really would be on the boards. Is this the kind of a game they're going to have to keep it low scoring, low possession to make it work against Louisville, to have any shot at all?
Yeah, I think that they need to play a fairly low possession game. I think they need, again, like I said, to make Louisville work for long periods of time on offense to get their shots. Louisville is not a great three-point shooting team. It's the one thing that this team really doesn't do well. It's sort of like the way of making this tournament fair for everybody to at least have a chance. Because if Louisville was shooting threes, the way Patino teams have in the past, I think it would be very much a challenge for anybody in the Final Four to play with them. But because it's not something that they do well, they have to find openings for drives. They have to try to get Gorgui Dieng jump shots, and those sorts of things. They have to get the ball to the rim, especially for Bohannon. All those kinds of things they can do offensively, but they're not a great three-point shooting team. So if Wichita were able to make this a defensive game, certainly they have the lesser defense in the game, but if they can make it a defensive game, keep it close, and then maybe try to steal it at the end like they did against Gonzaga. And this is not the same team as Gonzaga. Gonzaga was, in many ways, a more potent offense, and they were able to hold that team down into a low-possession game and then steal it at the end. So I think you're right, Tom. I think that's the way they have to go about this in order to have a chance to survive. Again, I have a hard time seeing that scenario. I think you'll see a fairly large point spread as we advance in this game. But this is the NCAA tournament, and strange things do happen. And so in that case, you at least have to give Wichita State a chance because they're there. No one else is there. They're the ones with the opportunity.
Absolutely. And if they do win, no doubt it will be a shocker. Listen, Mike, thanks so much for your time. We'll be back to preview the national title game with you when we find out who's playing in it.
Thanks, Tom.